The only good thing about it snowing every other day is that I have to stay in, and that means more reading time. So I read 8 books in the month of January, and I'm going to show you what they are today. The first book I read was Graceling by Kristen Cashore, and Lindsay had been trying to get me to read this forever, and I finally did, and I really, really enjoyed it. It was a little slow in the beginning, but once I got probably about to like the middle, I just really started to love the characters so much, and it got really good. So I'm gonna give this one 4 to 5 stars, and I'm excited to read the second book. But let me know if you have read Fire. I hear it's a prequel, so is it the same characters as Graceling, or is it different? I don't know how I feel about that, if it is different characters, but let me know what you thought of those books. Next, I read Attachments by Rainbow Rowell, and I loved this book so much. I talk about this and the next 2 books that I'm gonna talk about in my Bada Books wrap up, so I'll just leave that link below so you can see what I thought of them. But definitely love this, and I'm gonna go with 4 stars, I think, for this, just because there was like 1 or 2 things that I didn't like. The other supporting characters didn't really go through any kind of journey. They kind of just were there almost as like props for the main characters to grow, and I just love books where all of the characters go through some kind of journey, so that kind of bothered me a little bit. You should read this. The next book I read with Rachel from Books Undone, and we read If I Stay Together by Gail Forman, and I loved Just One Day so much, which is by this author, and I just couldn't get into this one. I don't know why. I think a lot of it is because with first person point of view, like the way that you connect with the character is through feeling the emotions with her. And this one, since she's in a coma, she can't feel anything. So I felt like I was just like that the whole time. Like I had no emotions along with her. And that's never a good thing. You want to feel while you're reading. So I'm gonna give this one 2 out of 5 stars. Ended on a ridiculous cliffhanger. I was like, how can you end it on that cliffhanger? And she did the same thing in Just One Day. Stop with the cliffhangers, it's not okay. I think I'm going out of order, but whatever, who cares. Next, I read Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, and this is definitely going to end up being my favorite book of 2014. If you haven't read this yet, you need to read it. What are you waiting for? I don't care that it's in hardback and it's expensive. It's worth it. Just please go buy it and read it. Or go to the library. The library, it's free. Just whatever you do, go read it. It's just like perfect in every single way. So this one's getting 10 out of 5 stars because it just blew me away, and it, like, I got to the end of the book and I just wanted to go back to the beginning and start reading again, and I've never had that with the book. I've never ever gotten to the end of the book and wanted to reread it right then. Not even Harry Potter, which is saying a lot, so I definitely want everyone to go read this. Go read it, go read it, go read it, go read it, go read it. Then I read some ebooks this month. I read Every Little Dream by Kate Ashton, and I like this one a lot. It's the 3rd book in that series, and I think it was my favorite out of that whole series. So I'm gonna give this one 4 out of 5 stars, I think. I also read The Edge of Never, and that one was like, it was really weird. The beginning, I didn't like it a lot. It was just like, okay. But I was bored and I was out, so I was reading on my phone, so I was like, you know what, I'll just keep reading it. And then it got really weird in the beginning. I mean, in the middle. It was like, it was just strange, and it felt unsafe because the main character is traveling by herself on a train, and she meets this guy, and they don't know each other, and then they start to travel together, and they get like romantically involved, but something felt off. It just felt weird. It felt like the genre switched a little bit midway, and then all of a sudden it was back to being fine and happy and perfect, and then there was another big plot twist, and then my soul was crushed. It was just like so sad at the end. So I don't know. I don't know what to give this. I'm gonna give it 4 to 5 stars just because there was that part that was a little weird. I definitely think it's worth reading. Just know that it's a little strange going into it. If you've read it, let me know if you know what I'm talking about. I do need book 2 right away though, because there was a big kind of, not a cliffhanger, but there was just a really good ending that made me want to pick up book 2. Listen to Beautiful Bombshell on audiobook. I had gotten this for review from Simon & Schuster Audio, and then I just never got around to listening to it. So I finally finished it, and it was really good. It's about these characters from the series before. So this was like the novella in between book 2 and 3. So it was all the characters that we already loved in the other 2 books, and they're going to a bachelor party, and the girls crash the bachelor party, and it was just really fun. And the people that were reading the audiobook were really, really good at making the characters come to life. And they had accents, so that doesn't help, that doesn't hurt ever. So I'll give that one 4 to 5 stars too. The last book that I read was Darkest Minds. I read this one in ebook, and I almost DNF'd this book because the beginning was so slow. It just dragged and dragged, and I was just like, nothing's happening. I think it got to 80% on my ebook that I started to enjoy it was at 80%, so that's pretty bad. But once they got to this one part, I just really liked one of the new characters that was introduced, and I loved the plot twist. I was like, it was in public reading it, and I almost like gasped and screamed when this plot twist happened, because I didn't expect it at all, and it was just amazing. So I actually put book 2, I put the audiobook at the library on hold so I can listen to it in my car. But yeah, I'm really excited to continue that series, and I hope that by listening to the audiobook it'll be better for me, because it was so slow. I couldn't get through it, but I hear book 2 is really good. So those were the books that I read in January. I'm going to show you really quick some of the books that I plan on reading in February. I whip my hair back and forth. Okay, I am rereading Under the Never Sky by Veronica Rossi, and I love this book so much, but I just can't get into this reread. I don't know why. I read this like 2 years ago, so it shouldn't be that hard, but I really like this book, so hopefully I'll just sit down and do it. And then I'm also going to read Through the Evernight and Into the Still Blue. Yeah, Into the Still Blue. I don't know why I couldn't remember that for a second. It's funny because I just made that whole video on how I don't binge series, but I'm going to binge this one, and it's gonna be amazing. And then I am going to read An Abundance of Catherines with Rachel from Books Undone, because we had so much fun doing a read-along together. I'm excited. Has anyone read this one? What did you think? Because I didn't really like Looking for Alaska, but I loved The Fault in Our Stars, so we'll see. Which, by the way, that Fault in Our Stars trailer was obnoxiously good. I think I've watched it 1,000 times already. So I'm also going to be reading Ignite Me, because that comes out in a few days and I can't wait. I feel bad buying it because I just got so many books from ALA, but it's Ignite Me. I have to buy it, so I will be reading that soon. And then I'm gonna do a book haul for ALA because I got about 30 books there, so look out for that soon, and thanks for watching, guys. See you later.